Now, an in-depth look at the news and information shaping our community. This is Moose Talks with your host, Doug Craig, on Moose FM.
Welcome to another episode of the program. Today we have one guest as we do this show before the long weekend. He came up with this idea for an incredibly ambitious music festival that would take place at Centennial Park. He's been working on it for some time. We kind of got to know it just kind of as the new year here came around, and he's since presented to the city once asking for their help. They came back with an answer, said, well, we want to help you, but we're not quite all in on this. To talk a bit about this festival, what it means or what it could mean for the city, and kind of where we go from here, we're very glad to be joined now by Dale Plourde with the energetic County Fair. Dale, welcome to Moose Talks.
Thanks for having me. I feel honored. I think in Fort St. John, this is sort of the platform that you know you've made it when you're on Moose Talks, right?
Well, thank you very much, Dale. I'm blushing. All right. Well, let's get right down to the fair. And we'll kind of start at the beginning with this. Was there something that inspired you to have this idea in the first place? Where did this come from?
Well, this is something I've actually been doing a long time, and I've been back in Fort St. John now for 2 years. And what the inspiration is actually to see what the city and mayor and council have done as far as setting the stage, so to speak, excuse the pun, but with the investment in the park and seeing the stage there, and then now coming out of COVID restrictions where we can have up to 5,000 people with a COVID safety plan and such, but it's the safest place to be, and then also looking at the cultural center, which I actually as a teenager had to spend a lot of time with Sue Popescu in orchestrating fundraising for that, and so the community of Fort St. John is also very responsive. I've put a lot of shows on here in the 80s and 90s, and so to answer it quickly, sorry I like to ramble a bit. Hopefully we got lots of time, but what it is it's actually city council, I think, are the leaders in that, and reading the cultural plan of the city and the community plan, the master plan, the official plan, saying they want to attract festivals downtown, and watching the infrastructure grow and parking along 100th Street, and not accepting necessarily the status quo of the cultural center and wanting to enhance programming there. And it sounds, that's a clear message. Like, we need someone to step in and program some stuff. We spent $5 million and none of that money went to programming. So I thought, well, I'll raise the money from community business and people who I'll gather the resources and make this happen because I know how to. And I think knowing how to and seeing the infrastructure in place was my inspiration.
Okay, so you saw the park, it was finished, you saw what a great venue it is, and I mean it's wonderful to be there for the few events we've been able to attend there since they did kind of built the stage and whatnot, and you saw it as an opportunity to put on a festival, a sizable festival as well. I have to ask though, I mean, again, we've only, I'd say, publicly known about this for a couple months, certainly since you first presented to the city and council with the idea, asking them to kind of invest in it as, if I remember right, as sort of a presenting sponsor to help provide the space and all that good stuff. How long have you been working on this specifically? Has this been kind of since last year that you started working on the idea?
About a year. It's probably since January 2021. Thinking that maybe coming out of COVID, we can, and you're seeing everything unfold with the infrastructure, and I definitely wanted to get involved and do that. So I've been working on it for about a year now, and talking to entertainers and putting the plan together.
Okay. Well, as I said, I mean, it's very ambitious. I don't remember exactly where it came from. It may have been one of your posts about it. You mentioned names like bringing in star power like Randy Bachman. You've posted on Facebook about getting people kind of behind you. You've used pictures of, a star like Brad Paisley as one of the pictures, right? This is very ambitious, or it seems very ambitious, I would say, for a place like Fort St. John. So, what do you think it would take, and what do you think, what do you think it is about this town, and maybe about your idea, that you could bring somebody with that kind of star power to headline a festival like the Energetic County Fair in Fort St. John?
Well, I've talked to a few of my industry colleagues who actually have done shows at the Encana Event Center. And I said, well, what, and they told me that probably 70% of their tickets are sold in the Fort St. John area.
Oh, okay.
Being a much sizable, more larger community, then and it's only an hour drive, so it's a little bit inconvenient, but it's there, and it's a beautiful facility, and it's done a lot for our area. So I'm thinking, well, we don't have an Encana Event Center, but we do have that beautiful space, which is approximately, it's actually got a larger capacity than Encana Event Center if you go by square footage, but we have that there, and we should develop that and make it work for us, even if it's and the concert promoters are definitely open to it. I mean, I said, their big summer tour, whether it's Bob Dylan or that they've brought into the Encana. Well, what if we could do it here? I said, I'll work. I'll be your guy on the ground here, and we'll use the Energetic County Fair as. Or Toby Keith or Brad Paisley, whoever that may have been there, Reba, or shows that they have done there, and they love the area, and they know their ticket sales are coming from Fort St. John, so they're absolutely all about it.
Do you think a festival like that could work in a place like this because people have a little more disposable income, and so they have a little more money for entertainment? Do you think that's part of the reason that it could work when we seem like maybe, if I be, a little bit cynical about it, we seem like we might be too small for a festival that brings in that kind of star power? Do you think that's part of the reason this could work?
Definitely, it would be a big deal, and I think it would get a lot of attention, and that was going to be one thing I actually enjoyed about doing shows here, whether it was at the Northwoods Inn or the Arena in the past, like is you didn't have to do much advertising because you put some ads on the radio and give out a few tickets, and everybody knew about it, and that's when we had a population of 13,000 or 12,000. We could easily fill the North Peace Arena, which was 3,500 people, and like that, and have big names like I said, John Denver and Tanya Tucker, that Sakamoto brought in, and I worked on those shows, and that was a long time ago. That was a lifetime ago for many people, and the hunger's there, and Fort St. John does support, but we need to inspire the investment and business to do that as a culture of being the city, and it looks like mayor and council is they're my inspiration, and that's where we're going to go.
Okay,
I got to support them, man.
Absolutely. Was there other cities, other towns, other festivals you saw that were maybe similar to the idea you had? You have a big headliner, and then you kind of showcase local music as part of it, that kind of inspired you, or maybe put some wind in your sails and saying, we could do this here because it works there. Was there other cities like that you kind of compare us to that you say, well, they can do it, so can we?
Yeah, actually there is. There's one in particular. It's the Magnificent River Rats Festival in Athabasca, Alberta. It's a small little town. They've only got 2,700 people population, so about a tenth of the population here, and they run a very successful festival, and they have since 1996. So, and they've actually had Randy Bachman there, I think in 2003 or 4.
No kidding.
And So they have a similar thing, a Friday and a Saturday, but they do it. That's their Canada Day celebration. So they actually have a parade, and a festival, and fireworks, and the concerts, and the big car show as well. And a lot of people come from Edmonton. It's about 2 hours north of Edmonton. And what a boost! I mean, if you consider, they have 3,000 to 5,000 people in their city center park. It's called Riverfront Park. And they've actually built a stage on the park, much like we have, and they're a big inspiration because they actually have more people attend the concerts than there is population in the town.
So during the concert,
everybody's there.
Essentially during the concert, the population doubles in size, with all the people attending. And
everybody's there, kids, seniors, and they're enjoying the beautiful grass. They bring their lawn chairs, their camping chairs, or a blanket, and they plunk it there for the day, and they come and go, and that's their spot. And boy, what a beautiful thing! It's just everybody's there, and it's like old home week, and it's just the community spirit is just everybody's there. You could be, there's 90-year-olds that are there, and 15-year-olds that are there dancing in the grass and watching and laying on the grass, and there's nothing more beautiful than that.
Wonderful.
So that's actually, they've nailed it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, we're talking with Dale Plourde with the Energetic County Fair, the proposed Energetic County Fair today on Moose Talks. When we come back, we're going to talk a bit about what has happened with the mayor and council, kind of what they've said to Dale about going forward on this, at least kind of for the near future. So that and more coming up on Moose Talks right after this.
Moose FM's
Welcome back to the show. I'm Dub Craig. We're joined by Dale Plourde. He's behind the Energetic County Fair that we've been talking about on the show and in the news, and he's been talking in front of City Council about it as well. If I remember right, Dale, you kind of went to them first with this idea in early January or mid-January, and then you've since gone back and they've kind of given their answer, which is more complicated than I'm going to make it seem, but essentially they said they didn't want to be the presenting sponsor of it. They also said they don't think Centennial Park is kind of appropriate for a venue, but they want to work with you to see what they can do to help you out and help make this a reality. Is that, would you say, a fair assessment of kind of what they say? And do you want to speak to more of that?
I think that's exactly, and there's a lot of hoops to jump through and a lot of boundaries that the city has to function within. I'm honored to have that support of mayor and council to be able to move to the next step and do a bit more research and find out where is the best location and look. So I'm going to meet with staff and identify those and check off all the boxes and see what our options are and see what the next report will bring.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, I've called this ambitious a couple times, and I would say you're probably a fairly ambitious person for, coming up with this idea and whatnot. I mean, would you say you were kind of expecting City to say, there might be some of these more hoops you have to jump through, or were you really hoping all along they'd just say, yeah, we're in 100%, let's do this kind of as is?
Of course, that would be my hope, and and especially seeing all the millions of dollars and not accepting the status quo of, say, like the cultural center programming. It looked like programming was a really I thought it was a gift, and it was to be thank you, but I think it is still seen as that. However, there's a structure to run under and a process. So, where I came to council the second time after I did the presentation came from applying for the permit and a staff going back to me and saying, well, we can't approve this without going to the mayor and council. So that's what inspired me to cause me to do that. But no, I've done many events that much larger, actually, even on the board of directors for the Heritage Festival at Edmonton, where we have our biggest year was 700,000 people in 3 days. Go through the park on the grass there, and they have an infrastructure in place that it's actually much easier. You need this, and this. You're approved as long as you do this, and this. And it's, you do those things, and you can set your date, and you just go through the process, and those things are always expected. Insurance and parking plan and safety plan and first aid plan and weather plan. Like those things are always there. But so. Did that answer your question?
I think so. I mean, you said something interesting though, because you said they kind of already have the infrastructure in place in Edmonton for Horillac Park, where, if I remember right, that's where Heritage the festival takes place. Do you then think that maybe you're a bit of a trailblazer in that how this goes sort of sets a precedent for future people who want to use the space at Centennial Park for a festival like this, and that maybe part of the challenge of this is that this is the first time the city's had to grapple with something of this kind of scale before for Centennial Park with the new infrastructure there.
Right. Yeah, it definitely is. And, after we get through year one and everyone's, they sees how the success of it and the templates will already be there. It'll just be a matter of doing it again. Right. So yeah, it's definitely going to be a lot more work the first year than years going on, right?
Absolutely. The later years would be a bit more of a breeze. Then I have to ask you then kind of what's next for you in this process. The city said you're gonna meet with staff, you're gonna kind of go through what maybe they can do to support you. Do you have dates for that? Do you know kind of what exactly is going to be happening next, and what does that mean for you in planning it?
It means I'm as far as my timeline, as long as we've figured it out by the end of March, we'll be fine. And I think that's realistic. I think staff's currently tied up with the High on Ice Festival, and so we got to get through that and make sure that that's a success, and then the cleanup of that, and then I think so. Hopefully, next week or the week after, I'll be able to have a meeting with staff and start to look at all the options.
Do you in your mind is there in your mind room to compromise on the idea at all? If it can't be this big, but it can be this big, maybe scaled down a bit, is that something you'd be willing to work with, or do you think the point of this has to be partly that it's the scale that it is?
To me, it's a very small scale, so I'm seeing it as a tiny little event. Having a Friday night show in Centennial Park with a few thousand people is to me a cakewalk, and it's not really that many people. But when you're not experienced in crowds and parks and sizes of spaces, those numbers might scare you, right? Like if you say 5,000 people, oh my God. Well, in fact, it's probably half of Centennial Park. It's not even full at that point. It's there'll still be lots of area. But to me, that, someone that's never done it and hasn't seen what 100,000 people looks like in a park, it's such a small thing. And, as far as, and especially with the daytime and being a family event as well, it's the scale is, to me, is very small, and it's no bigger than, let's say, the Fort St. John Flyers being in the playoffs, or the Huskies, the arena's full, it's 2,500 people, and it's not that many people. The parking lot's full. They go in, they enjoy it, they go home. It's not a big, oh my God, what are we gonna do? Right? They go to the hockey game and then they go home. Just like with the Encana Event Center having 5,500 people in there for a show, or 6,000 people with the ice surface. They go and they park. They go enjoy the concert and then they go home. Right? we've been doing this, as a culture as a human, the race since the days of the Romans, where they'd get 100,000 people in the stands, and 60,000 people at Commonwealth Stadium for a. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We'll just keep it simple. It's just small. There's much bigger things that happen, and we don't have to get that excited. We just have to, in any type of leadership role, you just have to demonstrate the way and how we do it, and then, okay, I understand that, and this is what it looks like. This is the impact on the grass. I've got 4 or 5 examples of that, including Horlack Park, where after 100,000 people walk on that grass in a day, what does it look like a week later? Well, it looks the same. It rains and it's grass and So, but when you don't know that, like for a fact, like you've never experienced that, it can be quite overwhelming and scary. So I completely understand that. It's just a matter of education and demonstrating, and working with people, collaboratively, and teaching them.
I do.
You can't expect, just because you're a city staff member, that you're going to know all the answers. I can imagine the overwhelming. Oh my God, 5,000 people. I'm empathetic to that, for sure. You can't expect that they're going to know.
Yeah, wonderful. Well, Dale, I really appreciate you taking some time to chat with us about this today. We're going to be following this story closely. I know I'm one of many people in this town who's very excited to see what happens with this going forward. So again, thank you so much for coming on the show to chat with us about this today.
Oh, you're welcome. And if you want to help, Dub, let me know.
Absolutely. All right, that's Dale Plourde. He's behind the energetic county fair, the proposed fair. We'll be following this story closely.